But there's one big absence, seems to me, and that's that absence of what will happen to me. The psychological drama that people can create. And what will happen to me? I can't take this pain anymore. You know, those kinds of psychological, they seem to always be engaged around a sense of me, a sense of personal doership.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big load to drop away.
It is a big load, but then on the flip side is that you can say, oh, there's a lot of pain, but I'm praying that it will go away. Or I have faith it will go away.
Right.
And that can, or acceptance will come in. And that will also decrease that. So for that, what you're focusing on right now is that one, the flip side of the coin. But if you're in that pain and suddenly say, I believe that the universe is going to get rid of this pain, I have faith, I have hope, then the pain is not there as much. In the sage can't do that.
So you've convinced me I don't want to be enlightened anymore. It doesn't sound that good.
It doesn't sound that good when things aren't good. It doesn't sound that good when things aren't good.
Mm-hmm. It's a good opposite to draw.
You're not selling. You're not selling here.
No, that's a good point though.
I know, and that's why not many people come.
You know, you've taught.
But I can't tell it any other way. If I told it any other way, it would be dishonest.
But wouldn't there be acceptance of it at the same time as the experience?
For the sage?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Because
There's nobody to accept.
there's no one to accept, and these concepts just fall away. The sage knows that they're like last month's newspaper. Like you go back and read, or last year's newspaper, you go back and read, you know, something that was happening a year ago. And it's like, this doesn't apply to me anymore. This doesn't make sense. It's gone. So the concepts are not applicable.
You have talked about, though, you got more peaceful sort of as time went on, and you were, I think.
Yes, because I think that was more, I got lucky, I had grace. That that's when the smorgasbord was all with sugar. Yeah.
So is it
And that's the mystical state, which is great. And you know, there's no better state than that. And people equate it's like the ego infers that if the mystical state is that much enjoyable, or in Sanskrit it's savikalpa samadhi, then nirvikalpa samadhi or enlightenment must be even better. 10 times, 100 times. That's what the ego infers. So what happens is with seekers, they hear this and they either stop seeking, you know, because, I'm not going to get anything, and they stop seeking, or, you know, and then because they are seekers, they come back and try again. And then they stop for a while and then they come back. It's that process of, I'm not going to get anything, so I'm going to stop. And that's what the whole Bhagavad Gita is about. The opening of the battle. Arjuna sees that he's going into this battle, and he's opposing his archery guru and cousins, and says, I can't do this. I'm going to stop. I'm going to put down my bow and arrow, and became despondent. But little do we know that just because we decide that we're going to stop, that energy to seek, or the energy to be who we are, is there, no matter what. And within each body-mind mechanism, it says through all the Hindu scriptures and in modern psychology, there's an innate tendency to avoid sorrow and go after pleasure. So we want to escape, block, avoid any unpleasant experience and pursue the good ones. It's just a natural instinct that everyone has.
I certainly don't feel like I have any choice in the matter. It's more like a force of gravity in terms of seeking. And you can sit there and say that, you can describe the state of the sage, and I could listen to it and think, well, that doesn't sound like anything, much of anything. But I have to admit, there's another part of me that's kind of like, well, wait a minute, because as I'm listening, I'm getting more expanded, I'm getting more open, and there's just like this incredible pull that you just want to, you're getting pulled in to just disappear into that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't see how there's any choice whatsoever. It's kind of like following my experiences, that it's like going deeper and deeper into a sense of bliss or pure satisfaction. What you seem to be saying is on the other side, that's not there. But the fact is, right before that, it seems to me you have no choice, because it's really there. In spades. That's as far as my experience goes.
You're right. And that's why in Advaita we use the dream state and the waking state to describe what you're going through. Is that you, as a dreamer, do not know as a dreamer what the waking state is like until you wake up. And then you go back and say, oh, I had that dream. And as a waker, you negate the dream state and say, this is real. And as the dreamer, you're not even aware of the waking state. So when you're having these mystical experiences, you think, oh, this is it. And it takes you up to that ceiling. It takes you up to that ceiling that you're having that experience. And you just say, oh, all that needs to happen is that one more step, and everything will expand. And I will have even more of it, or constantly all of it, or have it all the time, and I'm there. And what happens is that whole game, the whole dream, dissolves, just like when you wake up. And everything that was applicable in the dream is no longer applicable. It doesn't apply.
Where does suffering fit into that? There is the absence of suffering.
There is the absence of suffering.
That's one tremendous benefit, I would think.
Well, you have suffering.
You're looking for something.
Yeah, one little straw to hang on to here. Give me something here. Give me something here.
There is the absence of suffering, and in the same situation be replaced with the direct experience of the pain.
So it's more intense.
It's more intense.
And shorter.
Could be.
Could be. I remember when I think it was a book I read in India, Viveka Chudamani, where it really struck me when the teacher's talking to the disciple and he's saying, Well, when most people get to that mystical state, I'm enlightened, and they say, "That's it. I don't have to do anything more."
Mhm.
They say that's particularly the moment that the guru is needed
Mhm.
to tell you that it's not. And
Mhm.
that almost amazed me because it's such a, you're all going towards exactly the image we have of enlightenment,
Right.
which is the mystical state where it's all just this beautiful, peaceful, transcendental experience.
Right.
And you're not there. That's just
It,
a lure.
for me, it was the guru was very important
Yeah.
because I can't. Wayne wouldn't give me anything.
Yeah, Wayne doesn't give me.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't give you
It's
anything.
really good.
And had he given me something, it wouldn't pointed to the final understanding. And there was a lot of frustrating times. This is not an easy, once I met Wayne, an easy path. There's a lot of pain and suffering as I went along, getting the concepts and having experience of not being the doer and going into that dark night of the soul for 2 months. How I made it to work, I don't know. But when I finally experienced, I'm not the doer, it's very depressing. And it just didn't go away over the weekend. We were talking a couple months. And so, and even with this sense of mystical experiences, when Wayne would say, "That's not it," I'd have a mystical experience, and then I would say, "Okay, well, I had it," and the ego's coming back and said, "I had that, so I'm just going to put it in its place." I had this mystical experience, and then Wayne pointed out to, well, it's grace, on the other hand. It's grace to have these mystical experiences. So the ego wants to, because it lives in duality, will put things into two. This is good or this is bad. Or dichotomizes things. And I wanted to be grounded in the concepts. Again, the gravity that you're talking about, the gravity for me is I want to be grounded in the concepts. I wanted to have the understanding. I wanted to learn these concepts. And what Wayne kept doing was keeping me ungrounded, keeping me up in the air and balancing me, so to speak, in this groundless state where nothing was certain. There's nothing that I will get. And so yes, the guru kind of cradles in that groundless space.